Good evening, day, night, early morning, next week, whatever you're doing. I want to talk to you about Alfred Adler. This is chapter 5. I'm going to leave the other chapters basically to you to read, as in the reading assignment. But I want to address Adler because he was one of the early guys. Freud, Sigmund Freud, and Carl Jung. You've heard mention of them. I would really like just to do a whole semester of nothing but Carl Jung, but that isn't going to happen. So let's talk about Alfred Adler. He was a contributor uh, in psychodynamic approach to therapy. Psychodynamic, considering your personality, right? Um, so a proponent of Freud, uh, most likely worked with Freud somewhat, and but they had a little disagreement. And Adler uh, decided to strike out on his own. His idea was a revisionist idea, taking Freudian stuff and putting his own thumbprint on it. They're called neo-Freudians. People like Erich Fromm, Karen Horney. These were people who were heavily influenced by Freud, but then wanted to re-examine his work and then basically change it to suit them in what they felt was a better explanation, including psychotherapy. So Adler stressed personality. Yeah, he says that you can't understand people unless you include the factors of their personality. It's a behavior thing, purposeful behavior, and this has to do with the basis of his theory. I want to give you the um, very basics of what Adler.
Need to turn on location services for that. Want to
I'm
turn it
sorry.
on just this once, or while using Siri. Something went wrong. Please try again.
My bad. My phone has decided that I'm supposed to be talking to it. It's called real life. Adler would have a lot to say about that, I'm sure. At any rate, his theory became separated from Freud's this way. He didn't agree with this unconscious business. His was more a goal directed thing. His idea was that uh, you had personality traits, but you weren't necessarily in that little box of personality like Freud looks at it. I know this is confusing, so hang with me because I'm going to try to make it as simple as I can. He grew to think that I hate to keep saying personality because that's not the way he viewed it, but that's really what it is that your view of life, how does that sound? Existed based on your early childhood engagement with those around you, particularly the idea that you were helpless. So what happens is a child interacts with the parent, particularly the mom, and develops these feelings of inferiority, separation anxiety, dependency, sometimes disruptive attention getting, so on and so forth, as they grow older.
Lori.
Good grief. Apologize for that. That's my wife checking in to let me know if she's on the way home from work. So, as I said, real life. Hey, join the family. Where were we? Adler, in his assessment of the way children are developing, again, he doesn't like to necessarily always use personality as a description, but it's hard not to. So they go through this um, process, I guess a good way to put it. they um, they develop this insecurity. They develop an inferiority. So when they're not getting what they think they need from the parent, particularly the mom, then they begin to feel anxious. They can lose a sense of being capable. They can become discouraged. Again, feelings of anxiety, uh, and they're displayed in attitudes and presentations of inadequacy. And this is while they're young, according to him. So they begin to think in terms of how to handle this insecurity, this inferiority complex that he says that many develop when things don't go particularly well for them early on, or in the early explanations of his theory. He said all of them, all kids do, and then it kind of got rearranged to say, well, not all kids do that. So what happens? They can develop this sense of sort of an antagonistic attitude. Um, they want to develop power. If they take a negative approach to what has been their evaluation of their upbringing, in other words, they feel inferior, then they may strike out toward other people. They move against other people. You'll hear Karen Horney's theory talks about moving against people. And what that really means is that they seek to overpower. They want to gain control. They want to be in charge. And I'm not talking about A personalities, the ABCD personalities. Not talking about that. I'm talking about their approach to overcoming this inferiority that they've developed, according to Adler, that they've developed. So they're going to be aggressive toward other people, other children particularly. They're going to try to be in control of all the situations that they're involved in. That is the negative way of trying to overcome this inferiority. The positive way that's described, and this is in basic text. I'm a little bit concerned with the way basic texts describe this, so I'm going to describe it a little more on the graduate level, if you allow me that. The idea that a young child, and this is what Adler says, a younger child can actually develop the understanding of their own abilities. Now, that's kind of tough to swallow, but nonetheless, Adlerian psychology says yes, they can develop this idea that they can reevaluate themselves and decide that they have particular, if you want to call it talents or abilities, whatever you want to call it, it's in that genre, and they can pursue those. So, in doing this, in gaining confidence in their abilities, that causes them to overcome this basic inferiority business that Adler says that they all develop due to dependency upon the mom early in their childhood, nursing, being fed, being bathed, etc. Things that at some point, according to Adler, they begin to view as a need of dependency. I hope this makes sense because it's pretty simple. It's kind of hard to really uh, digest. So that's basic Adlerian psychology. You develop at a young age inferiority, even an inferiority complex, which means you feel inferior in everything, uh, and then you try to overcome that. Sometimes the rest of your life. Uh, there's no unconscious stuff going on, according to Adler, related to Freudian's description of that. So there you have it. Kind of a short and sweet, much interrupted lecture. I apologize. I wanted to get this thing put together and get it on the course page before it got to be too late in the week. It's already Monday. But there you have it. I'll try to get back with you in a day or so and I want to follow up with some things related to I don't know, private logic, if you want to call it that, or some things that you probably might not be familiar with. Uh, may view human nature through Adlerian eyes. I'd like to talk about Karen Horney too, and relate it to this. That's another one that's viewed as a neo-Freudian. This lady, one of the few theorists that are female back in the day. Pretty interesting lady. Pretty good ideas actually. So we'll see about covering that. But nonetheless, I hope this is valuable for you. At least you get a basic understanding from Adler. A lot of this took place between 1930 and 1960, so it's not really contemporary at the moment. Alrighty, take care.